Welcome to Music Appreciation, MUSC 1100 here at Columbus State University. I'm Dr. Kristen Hansen, and I'll be your instructor for this asynchronous online course this semester. And I'd like to use this short video to introduce you to the course itself, what we're going to cover, and to a couple important definitions and ideas that are going to really guide us all the way through the semester. So again, this is Music Appreciation. This course is taught asynchronously. That means there's no specific class time, although you will find that there are some optional times to meet by Zoom to work on a writing workshop for our final paper later in the semester. But those are not required, they are optional, and you'll see inside Cougar View all the details about how to navigate this course and when those optional things come up, and you'll be welcome to take part in any of those. Also, you want to navigate the Getting Started Module 0. I hope since you are here already that you have already done so, either through the rather flashy game board that I've created where you can click on little points of information, or the No Frills checklist for those of you who are ready to jump right in. Make sure that you've looked over those Module 0 Getting Started items, and also that you complete those Getting Started items during the first week of class so that you can maintain your enrollment in the class. Now, music appreciation. What is this class for? First of all, it's not for experts in music. It's for anyone, all humans, whether you are a music major or not music major, whether you play an instrument or sing or you don't. This class is for all of us because we're looking at music as a reflection of the human experience. How music describes our emotions, our history, where we are now, mentally, in our soul, physically, in history. Music is a way to give us a clue about our own identity, about the identity of others. There is so much in music that it's really hard to pin it down. We're going to use a sort of broad definition of music in this class, and I'll get to that in about 4 minutes maybe at the end of this video, so stick with me there. Let me continue then saying that we're going to spend the semester looking at the elements of music, that is, what are these phenomenon of sound and acoustics that we call music? What are the words we can use to describe music as we study it? We'll look at then a couple timelines of different parts of the human musical experience. And I've picked out the timelines that I can present to you strongly and well to give you some perspectives about parts of musical existence that you might not have known about. So the first part of this course, the first 4 or 5 weeks, are devoted to the elements of music. We'll look at the definition of music, as we're about to start doing. We'll look at the terms, as I say, that we use to describe musical events, like melody, rhythm, harmony. We'll look at different instruments so that we can learn how the sound is made with an instrument. And throughout the semester, then, you'll learn new instruments to add to that sort of instrumental catalog in your head. We'll look at the difference between music appreciation and saying, well, I like that. Appreciation versus saying you have to like or dislike something. That's not actually where we're going here. When we say appreciate, we mean thoughtfully consider, experience, ponder, reinterpret. That's what appreciation is. We'll also spend a little time talking about cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation, because it's very, very relevant when we're looking at music from something that is different to the music that you're used to hearing, perhaps. So that's the first part of the course, elements of music. The second part of the course is a history of what we'll call Western art music. This is where my degrees, all of my academic degrees, are in this time frame or this cultural frame. Music that stemmed from the European tradition from, 1400 onward. And you might think of this as, in your normal vernacular, you might just call it classical music. You're thinking here orchestras, fancy choirs, ballet, opera, things like that. Sure, absolutely. Those are things that fall into art music. It's not the only things that fall into art music. And you may have expected a music appreciation class that would spend the whole semester covering those things. But that's not my intent there. I'm going to take you through the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Baroque period, the classical period, and the Romantic period, from about 1400 to about 1905 in just 4 short weeks. We're going to really have to sort of compress that stream. There's so much I could tell you. But why am I telling you about music that is hundreds of years old? Because I like it? Well, okay, maybe partly because of that, but also because I would like you to be able to encounter this music that has a really specific sort of context and tradition and background. I would like you to be able to encounter that on the Columbus State University campus, or out and about online, or out and about someday safely in person. I would like you to be able to experience that kind of music and not feel baffled by something that is completely foreign to you or out of your frame of reference. So I will be your ambassador to this art music unit. The third unit that we're going to do turns more towards the music that comes from North America, especially the United States, not exclusively the United States. And that is going to trace from the roots of what is able to be called really American music, like spirituals, blues. We won't talk specifically about jazz, but jazz could relate in there. And we're going to head into the history of rock. Now, many of you may not listen at all to rock either. Maybe you say, that's on a radio station, I don't listen to that. So why am I doing that? 2, 3 reasons. One is because it gives us a chance finally to say, hey, look, this is music that is created in America. It's part of the American experience. It's really part of the fabric of American 20th century and 21st century history. And rock music and its development spurs and influences and relates to much of the music that I bet many of you are listening to today. Do you listen to rap, to reggae, to K-pop? Do you listen to Michael Jackson? Do you listen to, soul? There's so many things that you listen to that have roots. Do you listen to R&B? Maybe so. These things have roots or connections or direct overlaps with the history of rock. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that I was able to rely on some resources from my brother, who is also a college professor and who has taught an entire course on the history of rock. So it's nice that we can share some educational knowledge and resources there, sort of to make a course like this, a hybrid sort of course. So you've got 3 big units: elements, art music, history of rock. Now, in the course of this semester, you're going to listen to a lot of music. And I'll be prodding you in announcements and emails about how you might consider organizing your work each week. I make an organizer for each module we do, and it has due dates of when the graded things are supposed to be done. And I really encourage you to lay out each of the little articles or videos, the little learning bits that I give you, maybe one a day, so that you can take time and listen to the music that I'm actually suggesting for each and requiring for each of these modules. There's going to be a lot of music to listen to. So do make sure that you have some headphones or a speaker or a place to listen. That's great. But more than that, you might wonder, how are you supposed to listen? Especially when you're listening to stuff that you don't know already and that you might not like. Most of us, when we listen to music for enjoyment, of course you put on stuff that you already know and you already like. And maybe you listen to that over and over again, and maybe it's in the background. You don't even really hear it anymore. It's just there kind of soothing you with its familiarity, or making you feel a particular mood, or helping you get your workout done, or clean your house, or whatever it is. We'll talk later about all the different ways that humans use music in our lives. So how are you supposed to listen? If it's something that you've never heard before, sounds that you might not understand, what if you even don't like it as you're hearing it? Let me talk just for a second about that. Because this course is about appreciation, that is, thoughtful consideration of different musical styles, you have to give yourself a chance. So it's like trying a new food, which again, some of us don't try new foods very often either. And I've had this experience when I take students on a study abroad, for example. Well, not this year. Take students on a study abroad to another country, and they try foods that are really unfamiliar. The first step is try it. Just try it. In this case, listen to the music. Let it play, rather than judging it ahead of time and saying, I am not going to like this. Just sort of take a deep breath, let it out, and hit play. It's like taking a deep breath, let it out, and maybe taste that new cheese or taste this particular dish, whatever. So after the first time, even during the first time you hear a new piece of music, it might not make any sense at all to you. You might think, what am I hearing? I don't even know what this is. I can't tell what it's about. So then, after you've heard it, you might want to go back and reread or re-examine the notes that I give you, either in an article or maybe in a little video lecture. What was I underlining? Why did I put that in as an example? There's a reason for every piece of music in this course that I'm giving you. So what were those reasons? What am I hoping you really hear? I'll lay it out for you. So then, after you've done that, think about it a little bit, and then try listening to it one more time. Just try it again. Sometimes that unfamiliar taste, you think, oh, that's a flavor. I'm not used to that kind of a flavor profile. The second time around, your taste buds are able to process what they're getting, and you say, ooh, that is tasty cheese. Or, I'm going to have that kind of pastry again. Just the same, you may say, I see what that music is trying to do. You do not have to then say, oh, I love it. You can still say, I don't care for that much. But now you should be able to say, why? You may say, oh, I love it. And now you can say, why? So those are very important things to think about when you're listening to new music. One other aspect of listening, many of you listen to music that, just as in your own life, you listen to music that has words. You may not even be able to imagine music that has no words, instrumentals. The interesting thing is, there's a lot of music out there in the world, and certainly in art music, that has no words at all. We'll even listen to some rock music that has no words. There's nobody singing. And so you may say, what am I supposed to listen to? Well, in the case of a piece that has no words, the elements of music that we're going to learn in this course are actually going to give you some clues as to what you could listen to. Maybe you'll listen to the melody, which doesn't always mean the part with the words. If there's words, probably that's the melody too, but the line of sounds, of pitches that is sort of floating in our attention span, that melody. Maybe it's the rhythm. Maybe it's the sounds, the combinations of tone colors of the different instruments that are used. That's called timbre. Maybe it's the harmony, the way all of the sounds happen sort of in vertical groups, in moments in time. Maybe it's the organization of the music. Maybe you're supposed to hear a pattern and recognize when you come back to the beginning of that pattern. So listening to music in this course is going to take you to maybe some different styles of music, some different musical experiences than you've had before. But I really encourage you to jump in to that kind of thing. Now, finally, I want to get to the definition of music. That's heavy. What is music? Think about that. What is music? Now, sometimes when I ask people that, the answer is, well, music is what I like to listen to. It's what I like. That other stuff, that's not music, that's noise. Maybe you've had that same conversation with someone in your life who's applied that to your own music, that you think this is music, and somebody else says, oh, that's not music, that's noise. Okay, so that's maybe not a great definition. That's pretty subjective, what somebody likes and what somebody doesn't like. Well, okay, maybe we have to define music by what it has in it. Music has to have what? Well, maybe music has to have a melody, something we could sing along with or hum along with. Maybe. Maybe rhythm has to have a beat, a rhythm. Maybe music has to have some rhythmic aspect. It has to have like a pulse that I can tap my foot to or sort of groove to. Maybe. Maybe music has to have harmony. Has to have a sense of like a cluster of pitches, of sounds that sort of support a melody. The thing is, I can actually think of music that doesn't have a melody. I can think of music that has just rhythm. In fact, it starts like this. And the whole piece is 4 people clapping this rhythm. And the rhythm then sort of shifts. But it's only clapping. There's nobody singing. There's nobody playing a flute. There's nobody playing a piano. There's no melody. Oh. Okay, well, music doesn't have to have melody. Maybe it has to have rhythm. Well, I actually know of a piece of music that has no rhythm at all. It's a piece of music that lasts 4 minutes and 33 seconds, and I'm going to perform a piece of it for you right now. Ready? It begins now. And it ends now. There was a little excerpt. You say, what was that? What was I supposed to do? Well, what did you hear when I said it begins and it ends? What happened? I'll do it again. Ready? I'm going to say now. We're going to start the piece of music. And you tell me, tell the screen, tell yourself, what you hear while that's happening. And I'm not just talking about what's coming out of the speakers, what I'm saying to you, but listen all around you. Ready? Here we go. Now. And stop. Now, what did you hear? Did you hear some sounds? You probably did. I heard a bird outside. I heard the furnace in my house because it's a little chilly today. I heard a car go by. Maybe you heard the fan running on your laptop. Maybe you've actually got more music playing in the background because this video is boring. So, now, did the bird chirping, was that a rhythm that a composer planned? Nope. Was this a normal piece? You say, what kind of weird piece is that? Well, this is a piece of music famously composed by an American composer named John Cage, and it's called 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And he created this piece to illustrate the very fact that music could be said to include the soundscape all around us. What is the soundscape? Well, if I say the landscape, you would say a landscape is the land or the sea, whatever, the visual field that I see all around me where I'm sitting. That's my landscape. So what's a soundscape? It's the envelope of sounds that surround us wherever we are. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? It's part of the soundscape if you are there to hear it. Yes, absolutely. What is part of your soundscape right now? Well, me talking, the fan on your laptop, a car going by, I hear an airplane overhead, bird chirping. That's the soundscape. And John Cage said in the 20th century, he said, all of these sounds are sounds. And if we somehow organize those sounds, even if it's not like a musical feeling, traditional rhythm, even if it's not a melody that I'm playing with an instrument or singing with my voice, if we organize these sounds in a time frame, we could call them music. So the broadest definition of music is sound organized in time. If you think about your favorite song, is it sound organized in time? Yeah. The singer knows which sounds, which pitches to sing when, and knows which words go with which pitches, and how fast and how slow those words and pitches begin. The other musicians may be playing in the band. They have a plan in time of when they start, when they stop, how long, how short the sounds they make are going to be. That's organized in time. John Cage, by the way, was fond of doing crazy things, and so he organized a piece called As Slowly as Possible, and this piece takes place over 900 years. I'm not kidding. It is being played right now at a church in Germany, and it's a box with some pipes in it that make musical sounds, whoo, and powered with air. And he has a plan. He's organized it in time so that over the next 900 years, people will add pipes or take them away. That's a long time. That's longer than any human can listen to that piece. Nobody would be able to listen to the piece in its entirety ever. But has he organized it? Yeah, it started in 1990 something, I think. It's going to go for 900 years, assuming there's power to the pipes in 900 years. Who knows? He can't even be sure that anybody's going to still perform that very piece in 900 years. Is it sound? He's got pipes with air blowing through them, making a musical sound. Is it organized in time? Yes, it takes 900 years. Is it a little ridiculous? Sure, absolutely. So the definition of music is sound organized in time. That's the basic definition. Now, you're going to have a chance to reflect on that and compare it to your instinctive definition of what you feel music is. The official definition for our course is sound organized in time. But do you have an instinctive reaction to that? You say, well, for me, music has to have melody, or music has to have somebody singing, or it has to have emotion. Sure, you can say that for the music you like to listen to. You're going to get a chance to reflect on that. The last piece of information I'm going to throw into this introductory video has to do with the term music culture. Music culture. Music culture relates to your identity and the identity of whatever group of people you choose to look at. So my music culture is a reflection of who I am, myself, both the way I perceive myself and the way others perceive myself. I'll write a little bit more in our course about that, those ideas of identity and self. But my music culture would be the music that I enjoy, that I practice, that I choose to listen to, that I participate in, related to different aspects of my identity. Maybe my educational upbringing, which is a child of a church organist and a college professor. So the music that my dad learned as an organist and the music that he taught as a college professor. Okay. How about my own education in high school and college? That's why I do art music, what you might call classical music. We're going to call it art music, because that was part of my educational upbringing. How about music that relates to my religious beliefs? Okay, I am a Lutheran, which is a kind of Christian, and we have a lot of music that is really specific to the Lutheran Church. Yeah, that defines me. Your music culture could be related to your identity. I'm not aware of any music that I practice myself that's related to my, did I say identity? It could be related to your gender, is what I meant. I don't have any music that I practice that relates specifically to my gender, but in some cultures there are instruments that only one gender may play or may perform. Or perhaps there is music that is appropriate for different rituals for different genders. In our American culture, that's pretty unusual, but it's around the world, that's not out of the ordinary, really. So music might relate to one's ethnicity, to your distant ancestral past, to your current present location, your current family even. Music could also relate to your generation. I really like listening to Three Dog Night because you know what? I was born in 1970. Does that make me a boomer? I don't know. But it's music that I grew up with when I was young. That's what was playing on the radio, and I really like it. So that's part of my music culture. So our music culture is a way of expressing our identity through the music that we listen to, that we perform, that we gather around us. And the elements of your music culture are defined by aspects like age or generation, gender, family, religion, did I say education? I should have written this down as a list. What else? Ethnic identity, regional location. I've had students tell me several times that the music culture of Columbus, Georgia, is really different from the music culture of Atlanta. And we think about it on a world scale, those places aren't that far apart. You wouldn't think there'd be a really different music culture, but there is. So we're going to think about music culture for you, your music culture. Look around you. It's not just me teaching you new stuff, but it's about you noticing stuff around you that already is there. What is your music culture? What is the music culture of where you're living right now? Is your music culture the same or are they different? We'll talk about that. So that concludes this little introduction to the course. You have several activities that you need to accomplish in the first week of class to stay enrolled in class. And then you want to head to Module 1 to the organizer and start working on the actual content for the class. And you'll hear some of these terms like music culture and soundscape. You'll hear those terms pop up again. I'll see you along the way.